I think I'll work on the journal article, your paper. I last week I wasn't able to do the reading of it because last week I was kind of busy with other stuff, so I wasn't really reading the article. Yes, I was. Should I share it? Okay, this is the article. Okay. Um, okay. Um, this is a study. Um, it's to help with the kids that may have a language delay and help with this. The intervention, there's sign for big feelings. Um, They so-called said they're gonna at the end of this whole study that they were finding it be benefit it was good for the students in the end. Yeah, from this little abstract here. Yeah, I think you shared it with you last time, so it's that same one. It should still be that same one from last time. The purpose, I think the purpose of this is just to like, give a new show a new idea for the sign for big feelings and see if it helps with the language delays in some students. Yeah, because it seems in the results they said it kind of see the difference with each the difference.
Still there?
Yeah, I am.
Um, so I'll talk to you then. In a second, I just asked the chat to look at participants.
Okay. It said here in the methods there were about 111 preschool age children. Yeah. The data. Um, um, I think it did kind of mention it a little bit in the method about what they're trying to look for. They were looking for They're listening, speaking, understanding, and manage feelings and behaviors. And they're using their, I think this UK method scale thing during their study. They did a before and after this study. So like there's results from before and after the study
So,
from this lab. Okay. Okay, this is the intro and this. To the F. Okay, the ethics. Oh, right here in the methods. The participant. This study was approved by the University of Bedfordshire Research Ethics Committee on April 10th, 2017. Written consent was obtained from the parents. The data set was analyzed and was available for the corresponding author upon original full requests. And then there were 101 data from 101 children were collected. Boys outnumbered girls 60 out of 111, 54%. And 48 out of 11, 43.2% respectively. 3 out of 11 is unknown, 3%. Just over a third of children had English as a second language. 37 out of 111, 33.3%. And just over 1/5 had funded preschool places. 25 out of 111, 22.5%, table 1, the one down there. At the start of the study, the mean age of the children was 39 months, but the age ranged from 21 to 71 months. A total of 110 wordless words understood and spoken pre and post intervention. 91 EYO assessments pre and post intervention, and 48 well-being skills were completed pre and post. Okay, the data collection. Okay, so we have to jump to March for the study period and collect and submit at the beginning and end of the term where possible. These children were to have lower levels of expected development in communication and language and concern about well-being as they were viewed as able to benefit most from the SODS intervention. Part of the data collection was a statutory requirement, that is, the submission of the EYO scores to monitor development, and 2 additional forms per child completed as part of the evaluation. The number of words understood and spoken in the well-being scale. As COS work in nursery settings, they have marked a number of children of varying ability and circumstances to monitor. However, childminders have a more limited scope as they usually care for between 1 and 3 children. Childminders and DSOs were briefed on how to complete and submit the form as part of the term meetings. See recruitment section above as forms were submitted to the research project. They were checked to ensure that any queries could be addressed by setting and resolved as quickly as possible. Yeah. Just have a bunch of how they were delivering about their data and stuff, finding their data. And then they for this part of the collection, they really just chose only like 2 of them to observe more, and it does not say which kind of student they're like what's the gender and if they have a language delay or not, the children that they chose to observe. Yeah.
So what would you say the research design?
Their research design. Um, yeah, from there is mentioned how they were doing this post and before. So they were like getting a understanding of how the children interact before and after, and if their language, if some of them already have, seems like they have a language delay, and if the other ones after this study have like improvement in their delays or not.
Okay. Um, how the statistical test.
It's statistical test. just tells me like what they used to put their data in.
Want to read it aloud?
Okay. A paired sample two-tailed t-test was used to measure the progress made by children, comparing EYO scores collected at the beginning and end of the school term to determine whether the progress was significant. A correlation analysis was performed to determine any positive and statistically significant relation between the variables under study. An analysis of covariance was conducted on the mean EYO scores to determine the level of progress achieved by preschool children when controlling for age. This almost seems like the added both the beginning and there's the words find the that mean about their about the student's age with that when they find the mean to see does it really affect their age with their scores kind of I think.
Absolutely.
Okay. Mm. The sign for big feelings intervention was developed to address gaps of attainment in preschool children. Such gaps were identified by looking at routinely collected early data to monitor the progress of children across Luton. Sign for Big Feelings use books depicting children experiencing different emotions and company dolls to act out how the characters feel. Early years practitioners read books to children regularly at story times using simple sign language to convey the emotions of the children in the story and encouraged children to copy the signs and repeat the words the signs convey. Sean feels really safe. Why does he feel safe? Because he's having a bedtime story. Izzy is sad. Why is Izzy sad? Because the television is broken. The intervention was designed to help preschool children to communicate more effectively, express emotion constructively, and learn linking words such as because and why, to use complex sentences to explain the reasons behind behavior. Time for Big Feelings was designed to provide young children with a range of vocabulary to convey how they feel and an opportunity to talk with a trusted adult about events they may find frightening or difficult, such as family conflict or domestic abuse. The intervention was intended to help children threefold improve speech, vocabulary with stories and accompany sign language. Those three. Help them name and tame their emotions rather than act out of difficult or disruptive behavior, and help early year practitioners in identifying any safeguarding issues that may rise by talking about the emotions depicted in the Sign for a Big Feeling book. Text box number 1 shows the theory of change to illustrate the progression from Sign for Big Feelings output and activities to short and long-term outcomes. Okay. Okay, results overview. Table 2 summarize Sign for Big Feelings data set. Although 111 children took part in the evaluation of the Sign for Big Feelings, some measures were incomplete. In total, 48 learning skills pre and post intervention, 91 end of the year assessments, pre and post intervention, and 110 word lists, words understood and spoken pre and post intervention were completed. Baseline collected were in November 2016, and follow-up data were collected 3 months later from February to March 2017.
Let's move on to whatever's next.
Okay. In addition to this descriptive statistic, a number of tests were used. A within samples t-tests, correlations, ANCOVAs, and multivariate analysis of covariance. Okay. A pair sample t-test was conducted to establish any statistically significant difference between the pre and post Sign for Big Feelings intervention. After checking that the data were within the normal distribution, table 3, there was a statistically significant difference in the mean scores for each of the 7 pre and post pair tested. For mean words understood by children, a paired sample t-test for the mean words understood by children, a paired t-test indicate that scores were significantly higher in March than in January. Mean words spoken were significantly higher in March than in January. The learning well-being scores were significantly higher in March than in January. The end of year EYO listening and attention significantly higher in March than in January. The EYO understanding was significantly higher in March than in January. The EYO speaking was significantly higher in March than in January. The EYO feelings and behavior were significantly higher in March than in January.
Right.
Okay. Statistical. Okay. A correlation analysis was undertaken for children's age, EYOs, and 11 well-being scales. Table 4. There was a positive, statistically significant relationship between age and the EYOs of listening and attention. Age and EYO for understanding, Pearson. Age and EYO for speaking, Pearson. And H and EYO for feelings and behavior, Pearson. A strong, positive, statistically significant relationship was also found between each of the EYOs. For example, EYOs for listening and attention and understanding, Pearson, and between feelings and behavior and speaking, Pearson. A positive, statistically significant relationship was found between the 11 well-being scores and all the EYO domains, the strongest of which was with speaking, Pearson.
Still, let's go.
Okay. The EYO progress checking. Although there was no difference in gender in terms of progress, children with EAL accomplished nearly 4 steps in the EYO stages. Boys 3.7 steps, girls 3.8, whereas non-EAL children accomplished 2 steps. Both boys and girls progressed 2.2 steps. Expected progress per term, 3 months in 1 step. Gender difference were marginal and was with funded 2 girls making slightly more progress than boys. Girls 4.4 steps and boys 3.9. And non-funded boys making slightly more progress than non-funded girls. Boys 2.6 steps, girls 2.4 steps. Overall, children who had funded 2 status progressed just over 4 steps, 4.15, compared with non-funded children who progressed 2.5 steps. In terms of well-being, children were assessed on the 11 scale pre- and post-intervention in January and March. At baseline, most children were put at level 3 moderate, 46%, and level 4 high, 54%, post-intervention, showing an overall shift of the sample higher up the 11 well-being scale. Yes.
Got 15.
Yes.
Is this one just
Yes.
the spot? That's
More data. Statistically significance and clinical significance, EYO scores. The previous section has shown that children made statistically significant progress in their EYO scores. Children are expected to progress by 1 EYO level per term. But to what extent have children progressed further than this? Further inspection of the data show that children cared for by childminders showed considerably less progress, 1.4 steps, compared with the EYO results reported by DSOS, 3.6 steps. Control data. Control data collected from the same academic year records average progress of preschool children throughout 2 terms. Table 6 shows that the children made 1.2 step progress in each EYO domain. Children are expected to progress 1 step in each term. Therefore, data collected from these settings show that below expected progress was made in listening and attention and speaking 1 step throughout 2 terms, and expected progress was made in understanding and managing feelings and behavior 2 steps throughout 2 terms. Yes. Significant differences were found for each of the 7 pre- and post-measure taken. First, understood and spoken well-being scores and the 4 EYO domains. Therefore, children achieve better than expected progress when assessed at the end of the intervention. Most children in the sample achieve better than expected progress, with many progressing multiple steps in the EYO obtainment. Positive correlations were found between age and the EYOs of listening and attention, understanding, speaking, and feelings and behavior. A strong statistically significant relationship was found between each EYO domain. Therefore, having a high EYO in one domain was positively associated with having a high score in another. This is corroborated by early years professionals in that one EYO domain underpins another. For example, if a child is assessed as low in understanding or speaking, they are unlikely to manage their feelings and behavior, as that involves speaking. A positive, statistically significant relationship was found between the liver well-being scores and all the EYO domains, the strongest of which was of speaking. In other words, there was a positive between well-being and higher EYO scores. Children with EAL made more progress than native speaker, and those with funded places made more progress than non-funded children.
Okay. What's that?
Okay. As age was positively correlated with EYO domain and COVID was run with age as a covariant. Uh, co covariant, yeah. This showed that EYO as a main effect was statistically significant throughout time when controlling for age. There was a statistically insignificant interaction between EYO and EAL, and between the EYO and the funded two status. No statistically significant interaction was found between EYO and gender. Gender differences were negligible in no analysis undertaken. Considerable variations in progress were evident when comparing data reported by the childminders when the SO.
Let us take a break from this part.
Mhm.
Scroll down to where let's
Yeah, okay. Scientific feelings was designed in part to help children express difficult emotion, thereby re in reducing destructive behavior. Most children in the sample made significant progress in all EYO domains, not least managing feelings and behavior. This element needs to be explored further in the forthcoming progress study of Sign for Big Feelings. The wider evaluation Sign for program will include the views of parents and in-depth interviews with early year professionals. It will also be possible to see if there has been an increase in safeguarding referrals since the introduction of the Sign for Big Feelings. The evidence presented here suggests that interventions such as Sign for Big Feelings can benefit preschool children, but are particularly important for children who are experiencing Topo disadvantages. Sign for big feelings was developed because of the worrying gaps in the attainment of young children in Luton. As such, children are starting at a disadvantage and appearing to benefit greatly from this additional support. Children of all abilities may benefit considerably from sign for big feelings. However, the intervention may transformational for children who are behind developmentally with EAL needs or of lower social economical status and who require additional support to catch up with their peers to realize their potential in later life.
So it's 5 to 10 minutes long. Um, all right. So what I've been doing is I've been typing up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you want to look it over and just sort of see if there's an area you want to look, like, is there a part of the article that you would like to look at again?
Mm-hmm.
No worries, because I have a follow-up question if you're not sure.
Yeah, I don't. I think I don't know.
No. So what do you think article? Do you think this is gonna teach? Yeah. Fine.
It seems like it can be helpful. Since they have like all this research in there, this paper, and all the charts, it's kind of very like yeah, a lot of their facts and data, um, yeah, and it seems like it might be too much for the teachers to handle, maybe because there's too much information, even though it's related to what the teachers will be teaching and the students will be learning with the so-called the scores and stuff. Yeah. Hmm. So far, like from what I have read from here, it seems like they with this little program and stuff, it does help the children with like the things they were looking for. They saw improvement, and yes, you can go.
Simply, do you think people have more questions to ask? Do you think people are going to critique this and say this is wrong? Like, what do you think the research will go?
Because they did in the earlier part they kind of mentioned about sign language, and then later on when with those parts I read, I don't see they mentioning it again. So I'm not sure if they mentioned in those other paragraphs, but like from what I read for the end, I didn't see they go back to that part again. So they might have questions for certain parts of this paper because they have mentioned some ideas, and then all of a sudden later on it seemed like they don't have it again. They mostly talk about the scores of the kids and behavior.
Yes. So what do you think about the whole? Do you think this is legitimate? Do you think it's dumb?
It seems like they kept on repeating that one phrase in their whole little their little study that significantly that part statistically that was like kept on repeating it so many times in almost every paragraph. Too much. Yeah. They kept on repeating it. I know they're trying to say that that's what they're finding in their study and stuff, but like they're repeating it too many times. Yeah, too many times. And I know that that's what they're trying to get at for the breeders and stuff and with this study, but that they're repeating that phrase too much, too many times throughout the whole paper they have.
Why is it
About that part?
like why is it like too much? You should say significant statistics, things like that.
Well, I know that this is so-called their data is important, but like, well, why you need to say it so many times? I know you the part you're saying is that the data and stuff. You don't have to write that again in the beginning of the sentence or in the middle to like say this is my data. So I will say this phrase again, and this is my data. I'll say that phrase one more time, and so they kept on saying it so many times, and almost each paragraph and each sentence is too much. Yeah, that's I think that's the bad part of this little paper that they wrote. From what I see, they're repeating that phrase too many times.
So would you say it's like
To kind of make it
just
not significant no more with the people repeating that phrase.
yes? Okay. So remind me when this is due?
So-called this Friday at midnight.
Okay. So looking at it right now, how do you feel?
I think it seems like I'm halfway there or like almost there. Just need to make it in the paragraph form for these.
Yes. And then so what are your next steps after this?
I think I will try to like look over the little article thingy again and then finish make sure I have everything for it. Um make sure yes.
If you had to pick a color.
What?
You like the color orange. Do you like any other colors?
Um Green?
Okay. So when highlighting the rubric notes,
Mm-hmm.
anytime complete something, like the rubric notes at one point say, you need to include the type of article and the rationale for selecting the article.
Mm-hmm.
So once you write that up, then you can just make it blank and then Like, so do you see the paper right now?
Yeah. Yes.
Then, and you can see how, do you see the green?
Mm-hmm.
Where does it, is there any point where the green is like, do you see the part where the green isn't highlighted?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it would look like when you finish that.
Okay.
So that way you can kind of make sure you keep track. So let's do this. Is have this way. So yeah,
I don't think so.
no worries. I think you're off to a really good start, and good luck with everything.
Yes.
Over. Okay, and yeah, I'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Nothing charging.